Hey, it's Kev from Blender Binge. In today's video, we're going to be going over texture baking. This is really cool when you want to start optimizing your renders, or when you want to bake information like lighting into an existing texture that you put on an object and bring it into something like a game engine. What it does is it allows you to bake in all kinds of things like lights and specular and bump and a whole bunch of things that take time to render in the game engine and slow it down. So if you can bake all that stuff into your environment first, then your game will run a lot smoother and it'll look a lot better. Okay, it's a cheat, and it may be largely going away with the advent of things like NVIDIA RTX real-time rendering, but it's always going to be there in the background as a really good way to make things go even faster and look better. So without further ado, let's begin. So you'll notice here that the first thing I did was I created a scene with two planes, a sphere, 2-point lights, and just the camera. Now, what I did when I hit render, I'll show you. On this plane, all right, let me hit render. Okay, on this plane, I threw down a dirt texture, and on this plane, I threw down a checkered texture. So you can see here, okay, if you watch the video on materials and cycles, you'll see how I set this up. But it's basically just a regular diffuse shader with checker texture and texture coordinate UV. Same with this one, except here instead of the procedural texture that Blender gives you, I just used an image map, okay, image texture of this dirt. Sphere has nothing on it. I'm just kind of using that for the shadow effect here. Okay, and the two lights, I just have a blue light over here and an orange light over here. Okay, very simple, relatively easy to set up. And the whole reason I'm showing you this is I'm going to be able to take this texture. Okay, if I go over here to UV texture, UV image editor, and I say image, okay, and I say dirt, you see here that I'm beginning to bake this in. Alright, so my original dirt texture is going to be baked in. What that means is I'm gonna be able to bake in all of this lighting information into this texture. And it'll bake from the top down. So what that means is, let me show you. Open image dirt. Okay, here is my regular dirt image. Alright. Now, if I want to take this image, and it's not optimal, I probably wouldn't use this because it has a lot of shadowing. It was taken during the day. You can, I would. The best time ever, if you want to go out and photograph textures on your own or you're looking for textures, try to get an overcast day so the shadows are minimal, and then you can light it from any angle. But just for this video here, I'm going to show you what I'm doing to bake this, okay, and how I'm going to bake this in. So all I do is I select this, and I go over to this render tab over here, little camera, go all the way down to the bottom where it says bake. And now I can choose to bake in a number of different things. Okay, I can choose to bake in direct lighting, which is coming from the point lights. I can choose indirect, which is coming from the environment, which is all the bounce light. Okay, so this light hits and it bounces up. You can see it bounces and fills in the bottom here that would otherwise be in shadow. All right. I can choose a bunch of different things that I don't really have on right now, like subsurface, AO, emit, transmission. I don't have any of this stuff on right now. So I can go ahead and turn that stuff off or leave it on. It won't calculate, doesn't really matter. But I'll just concern myself right now with diffused. And the bake type, okay, I have different types of things I can bake. So I can bake in, everything combined. I can bake in what's called ambient occlusion, which I'll go into in a different video. Shadow, just shadow mapping. You can see here. I don't need to read all this stuff to you, but it's all here. So I'm going to go with combined. Margin of 16 pixels. That's fine. That's good default. I'll just leave it as is, and I'll just leave clear on. And when you're ready, you just hit bake, and you'll see that it's now going to start rendering your texture. Okay, you're going to see up here it says texture bake, and you're going to see 1%. And I'm not on the fastest computer right now, but if you are on a faster computer, you would definitely see this going probably a lot faster. So I'm going to pause the video because I'm not going to make you sit here and watch this counter go over and over all the way up to 100. So let me pause the video and I'll come back and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so you see that it's rendered here, and my dirt image now has this baked in. Let me move this so you can see this a little bit better here. Yep, here we go. Baked in shadow. Okay, here's the harsh shadow from where this sits, and here is this shadow from this light coming over here. So you can see here that I have now baked this in. So if I were to take this into a game engine and use this texture, as long as this ball doesn't move and stays here, the game engine is not going to have to calculate this. Same with making a movie. If you're making a short film in Blender, or you're making an animation in Blender, and you have things that are static that don't move, this is a great way to make your render time go a lot faster. Does that make sense? But what if we wanted to do the checkered? That one is a bit different because the checkered pattern was created by Blender. It wasn't created by pulling in an image. So this has been a point of a lot of confusion. I've seen this on forums and people ask this question, and it's not that difficult, but it takes another couple of steps to do. We're going to do that now. If I select the checker plane and I'm in the node editor, okay? The first thing I want to do is I want to go to UV editor, and I want to say image, new image. And we have to make a new basic image that this is going to be baked to. So right now we can't, if you hit render, if you try to bake this, you're going to get an error up here that says there's no material in slot 0, okay? This is the fix. So you say height and width. I'll just leave it at 1024 because if not, it'll take too long to render, and this video is going to get too long anyway. Okay, generated type blank. You can do UV grid, color grid, generated type, whatever. I'll leave that as is. I won't turn on 32-bit float for now. And I'm just going to call this checkers and hit OK. All right. So now that's saved. What I need to do now is go back to node editor, and I need to add in an image texture. It doesn't have to be connected to anything, but it just has to be there. So I hit Shift A, and I just say texture, and I say image texture. And now I just need to point this to checkers. All right, there it is, checkers. Okay, and leave everything else as is. We're going to go up here, and I'm going to hit bake. All right, provided that everything here is set. So I'm just going to leave it at diffuse for now and hit bake. You can see now this is working. So I'm going to pause it, and then I'm going to come back. Okay, so there we are. Baking map saved to internal image. Save it externally or packet. Okay, so it's there. So if I took this image texture, this checker, okay, and you look, all right, so if I go to, I'm going to go to UV image editor. There it is. It's baked with all the lighting baked in. So I'm going to go to node editor, and I'll show you what I mean. If I take this color texture out of here, boom, gone. And I use this image, okay, and I'm referencing this checker texture that's in there. It's loaded. I go to color. Ooh, there it is. And I'll just go to UV because it's just kind of good practice on my part. So that's it. There it is. It worked. Okay, so what you do, remember, you need to create an image texture. You need to create a new image, and it doesn't matter where you create it. I just created it in Blender because it's easier, but you can do it in Photoshop or GIMP or whatever you're using. And that's how you bake out a texture. Okay, so to reiterate one more time, because it's very confusing out there, and a lot of people get confused, and I'm here to fix that, okay? Because I don't want you to get frustrated, because we hate that. So, if I have, and I'm going to Control Z out of here, okay? So we have our checker texture, all right? We put a new image down, all right? And in this case, I created a new image by just going to UV Editor, Image, New Image, and I just said New Image and I named it. Okay, so it's just it was a blank big black image, 1024 by 1024. All right, so that's all I did over here. So you don't have to use this. Okay, this is not necessary. You can do this in Photoshop and just remember where you saved it. The most important thing is that in Node Editor, before you bake, okay, you make a new image texture and you call that in. Okay, so there it is, checkers. So wherever you saved it, you call in that image, that blank image, and that allows you to use bake. So now you can see, all right, I'm going to go back here. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to throw this down on here, and I'm going to do UV connect, and you'll see now that if I go to material, okay, there it is. So you would normally only be able to see this in the rendered view. All right, you'd only normally be able to see this in rendered, but now I'm in material and it's baked in, so I can actually see how the lighting is affecting the textures by just using this little trick. Okay, and that makes it, you'll see this is kind of the same way a game engine works. And you see how fast it's drawing? I don't have to re-render this. I'm not rendering right now. All right, I'm just using whatever OpenGL is here. And your game engine's going to do this. Normally, if I didn't have that connected, you wouldn't be able to see these textures right now. You would have to be in this rendered view, fully rendering it, and you'd see it takes a while to, render. But you see how fast it is? I just go to even texture, okay? I could just go to texture or material, either one, and you see it's on there now. See that? And even if I turned off my lights, well, if I turn off my lights, you probably won't see anything, but yeah, maybe you will. Okay, because the lighting is baked in, I don't even have to have lights in this scene right now. Do you get what I'm saying? You do not even need lights in the scene, because your lighting is now baked into the image, so it looks like it's lit, but look how fast that's going. So that's how you bake. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing. Please, if there is something confusing, I'll make a video on it. Please let me know in the comments, and I'll try to help you guys out. Okay, so again, if you got anything out of this video, and I hope you did, please like, share, comment, definitely subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification so you get more, so when I update stuff or when I upload new videos, you get notified. And I'll just keep making more of these, because I'm definitely seeing some more questions coming in on the channels, and you guys are giving me some awesome ideas, and just keep giving me ideas and I'll make videos for you. Alright, anything you're confused on, even if it's something I don't fully understand, like I will learn it and do a video. Thanks.